Are we live?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that completely.
Although I think Andrew is muted.
Oh, Andrew is muted.
There.
All right.
My
Well,
quiet guy.
There.
all right. We're continuing with our professional system today. Welcome to the webcast. We're going to talk about using the PowerShell scanner. This is Andrew's first webcast, so welcome to Andrew. He is
Thank you.
also fantastic at PowerShell. I'm a big fan of his work.
Hey, before we jump into PowerShell, just to let everybody know, I'm going to add that link to the K through 12 cybersecurity webinar again in the chat. Get yourself registered. It's going to happen on June 16th. Very, very cool and relevant stuff. So look for that link in the chat. All right,
Yeah,
go.
I think you could learn a lot about our products from that one. I guess one other housekeeping before we start in this one is there's something that popped up with collections recently. The way Windows 10 works, before it used a release ID in the registry, which is no longer there, so it caused some changes in the way that we're pulling our information. So the 20H2 collection, if you see, it changed from the SP release to OS version. The problem with that change is that collection now has a different collection ID. So if you have schedules or reports or anything that are running based off of that collection specifically, you're going to want to go into that schedule and repoint it to that collection, and it'll correct for you. All the information is still the same. It still functions. It's just before past Tuesday, definitely you want to go point that back to that one so it will update. Otherwise, you'll get an error about collection doesn't exist. All right. Now move on to actual topic here. So we're going over the PowerShell scanner. Just a quick thing is something that it's a super powerful tool with inventory that lets you grab the information. By default, it comes up with this map drives as well as the Defender information. But we have a whole Git repo of just so much information and so many useful scripts that we're hoping to continue to grow that you can use. To grab that, you're going to need a couple of tools. I guess only one tool to grab it, but two if you want to do some updates. But if you go to the package library, you're going to go to Git. And Git for Windows here, you just want to install that on your local machine, and that's going to let you grab all the information you need to pull it in. Which if we'll come here, it's right in here on the downloading page. It gives you the command exactly to run. Just get the clone. If you don't want it on this location, the C PowerShell scanners, just change that up in the line, and that will grab the entire information. I'm going to run that one. All right, and so now we have availability all the scanners from the Git repo, and if you want to see exactly what kind of we have, it's just right there, a whole bunch of fantastic information. If you already have all those, you just want to make sure you have the latest version, you can just do here on git pull from the PowerShell scanners or wherever you saved it to, and that's going to grab all the latest updates for the scanner. All right, Andrew, any thoughts on that one?
No, definitely check out the README. If you're going to check out the PowerShell scanners, give it a glance. There's a lot of really very powerful scanners in there that can add a lot of value for free, so definitely check it out.
Yep. And we had kind of pre-imported this PowerShell module scanner and ran it earlier, just kind of an example. And from that, we built a collection. Basically, we're looking for modules on everyone's machine, and we're checking if they have the PS Windows update, which you can pop that up there, and you can see that's all it is. We're looking at the scanner we have, and it contains that collection. You can see we have 7 machines that have the PS Windows update collection. If you're wondering how those 7 got it, we actually ran a different one. So we're just going to do Control-I on the screen to do import. We're going to pull in a new one from the clone that we just grabbed. Not temp PowerShells, PowerShell scanners. And we're going to do this grab get available windows. And there's the scan profile, just the XML, and that's what's going to build out the scanner for you completely.
And one point that Colby mentioned out, so now that you just imported that XML, that package that you imported refers to c:\PowerShell.scanners. So it's important in the original steps when you do the git pull that you should probably keep that same folder, c:\PowerShell scanners.
It does make it easier. Yeah, if you're hard set on something different, then you can, but what's in there will make it much easier on you.
Exactly.
All right, and so if we go through and look at, now we imported that scanner, it just has this PowerShell script that we pulled up, or that I haven't pulled up yet, and it imports that module that we're talking about. This scanner in particular is one that I pulled in because it gets available Windows updates, and it is fantastic if your machines are not on WSUS because it looks at the internet. So we're going to come in here and scan a couple of those, looking for those updates, and we should get an error here just because these machines aren't on WSUS, which if you're not on WSS, it's fantastic, but we would like to get that to people that are on WSS, so we're actually going to go in and take a look at it. All
Okay,
right,
so
see
while
here.
these error out, can I go back a second just kind of make sure I'm on the same page with you? So
Absolutely.
we got Git, we got all the PowerShell scanners from the PDQ repository using that git clone command, and then we imported one into PDQ, and now we're working on that one. And it
Yep,
seems like
and-
it's erroring for us.
Yeah, and everything we're doing is local
Cool.
on this one. So the next part, we're actually going to go over how you can contribute if you want to contribute. So the solution to this, and this was found out by Brock, and he has a blog out there about using WSS, is it's a single line edit. So what we're going to do is the other part we're going to download, or I guess I pre-did it for this one just to show you, is the Visual Studio Code. I know Kobe will be very happy that I finally have it and I'm using it. He's been trying to get me for a long time. Just that one there, and that's just basically an editor that you can use for PowerShell that makes it run. It gives you all the advantage of the script editor, but it's constantly updated, and you can do things like install the module GitHub pull request and issue, so it will work directly with GitHub as well as the PowerShell module. And everything is there kind of recorded for you. For the important part, if you are planning to make changes to the script, you want to come to the main page here. You basically have to pull I went too far. You have to create a fork, and what this just basically creates your own version of this on your system that you can run, you can make edits to. But you don't have to, it won't push up to the main one unless you say, hey, I want to do this, in which case it will be reviewed before it goes live. So you can see I have, I'm sure I'm in there somewhere. Yeah, Jordan PDQ. So I have basically my own fork of all of our PowerShell scanners. So everything that I work on, I'm working in my own environment. I'm not messing with the main one, although I don't think I'd even be able to go directly and edit the main one.
Right. So you have your own local copy that's on your account that you can make any changes to. And if you wanted to merge those changes with PDQ, there's a separate process for that. But it's your copy now. Do with it as you please.
All right, so I'm just coming in here. We're going to clone it from GitHub. And since I have signed in with my Git on the module here, it just goes through and finds the ones that I have. Going to go there, open it, and have to just create a new folder, which I guess we can put it in about the same location. Give it a slightly different name, PowerShell Scanners 1, just so I can confuse myself. Oh, I guess I have to make the folder first. There we go. Sorry about that. We're just going to do PS-scanners. Now it's definitely different with the unnecessary capital C. I'll get there, guys. I'll get there.
You're channeling Lex right now, dude.
Unnecessary
With your
starts
typing
with you,
ability.
by the way.
All right, we did it. So now this is the repo. We now have it. I'm going to open up in there. We now have a new repo, but instead of just grabbing what exists out there, it is grabbing from the fork that I created. So anything that I change here changes on mine. If I like the changes that I do, then I can push it up and people can review that if it's good enough. So I guess the first thing we want to do is, instead of working in the master, which is the main one of my fork, we want to build a new one. And we do this on I do Control-Shift-P. I think Andrew has a different way.
Just F1. It does the same thing. Just a little fancier, I think.
All right, and then there was an option there for new branch name. I was going to name this one Add WSS. Here we go.
Don't know if there can be spaces, but maybe.
We'll find out. And we're going to do this one just from the master because that's what I pulled for. Actually, if I put a space, it added the hyphen for me.
Nice.
Nice and easy. All right, so now you can see down here, I don't really have my highlighter, but I'm going to hover it with the mouse. That's going to tell you what workspace you're working in. And the good news with the Windows Update, we're going to come and open it. Making it work with WSS is actually very easy. Dash Windows Update. That's not what that's Get Windows Update. So dash Windows Update. I actually don't think I have the module imported.
Okay, so just to go back a little bit. So this is the script that we're now wanting to change.
Yeah.
So we imported the get available Windows Update script, PowerShell scanner, and we realized that for our environment, it wasn't working because we want to check WSUS. Okay. Did we want to create an issue for this?
Okay, yeah, so before we go in there and dive in it, I guess we want to go into, and that's just on your GitHub option here, down here, there's created issues. I guess we want to build a new issue that basically says we would like the Get Windows Update to work with WSS.
Yeah.
With Git dash. Apparently issue title I got to delete.
So maybe like add wsus support to get Windows Update would be a good one too. Yeah, this is good.
All right, and then right here, we're not going to assign it to anyone. I don't know of any labels, and we're just going to basically put in the issue that we want, the request. And so a lot of this stuff, so what I've learned is the barriers to get started with Git are massive. It's daunting, and a lot of people get started and they quit before they get to this point. I'm one of them, which is why any commit that I submit from this one is going to be the first time I've done it. We're going to try it live. We did a lot of the prep work to kind of get an idea, but a lot of this is live, so we're just trying to basically remove some of the barriers to get people that are interested in helping to jump in and help with this one.
And one of the easiest ways to do that is to just file an issue. And an issue is just basically either a feature request or, hey, can we add this functionality, or hey, this scanner isn't working for me, or things along that line. And we can start a dialogue, and potentially someone, since it's open source, will be able to contribute and help, and we can get something going. But since it is open source, it is important to give feedback and interact. So if you have issues, file an issue. If you want to see something added to a command or something modified or something's not working, an issue is the lowest barrier to entry. So sign up for GitHub and go ahead and do that.
You can see here, I went and created that issue, and it built issue 68. And basically what we're looking for is wsus support with the scanner that already exists. So if we go back to the script that we were working on in the PowerShell, I just added Windows Update. This is going to get rejected right away, because all this is do is changing the core function. So those that it's working for it will break. Those that have WSUS will now work for it, but it's not the best case for anyone. So what we want to do is we want to build it out in such a way that it keeps the default behavior, but for someone that wants to point it to the new direction, can. And for that we have to create a parameter, just a switch parameter. So first we do the commandlet binding. All right, and then param. And then right here is where we're going to specify it's a switch. A switch means you don't necessarily have to give it information. It's just basically if you specify this attribute, it's going to put it in there as true or false. It's kind of like a Boolean, but I guess.
Yeah, if you specify it, it'll show as true, but if you don't add it, it'll just show as false. So it's a way to like modify without having to deal with the downsides of Boolean.
All right, and then we're going to come in here. We're basically going to put just the if was sus. Ooh. Put that in enter, and then we're going to add an else statement. So basically, this will say we're going to check for the was sus variable in there. If it's there, do one thing. If not, do the other thing. And then so we'll come in here and just copy that line in. Now I think that the Windows Update needs to go in line 2. Right here, and then just the other one would be without it.
Okay, I'm not so sure.
You're not sure? You're not agreeing with me on that?
No, certainly not. But the beautiful thing about PowerShell is you don't have to agree. You can just test things. You can just run things, and if you can't really read and understand exactly what the code's going to do, totally understandable. You're able to run it and kind of just see what's going on. It's not like a compiled language where you have to compile it first. You can just interact with it.
Plus, in a situation like this, you can place bets on who's right.
Yeah, we can absolutely test this out. So we do need to save it. It's important. This one is in the different location than the one I imported initially, so we're going to have to re-import that scanner over in inventory. So we're going to go back to scan profiles. All right, and import the new one, except for instead of PowerShell scanners, it's PS scanners. Oh, and then I built the PowerShell scanners folder anyway. That's all right. All right, and get available Windows Update. So we're just going to re-import that one again. And so this one basically has the new PowerShell code. So I made the change, I saved it, but it's only saved locally for me. Still, we haven't pushed anything live. Now, if I'm right, when we run this one with the parentheses 2, it should still fail with the same way. If Andrew's right, then we're just going to ignore it and move on.
I think so.
All right, so scan those with the second one. So this one should still fail, perhaps. Do we have any questions while that one's running?
Yeah, I can throw a question in for you. Hey guys, did you come across any PowerShell scripts on GitHub that are part of a CI/CD pipeline? Thank you, MBK.
So for this one, I'm not entirely sure how to interpret it. Are you asking if the PowerShell scripts if we have PowerShell scripts on GitHub that can be used as part of a CI/CD to like run tests on a product or something like that, or tests on a module, I'm not sure. Or if you're asking if like PDQ deploy can be added as like the end step of a CI/CD pipeline, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to.
Yeah, so I do know, I think everything that's in the scanner, I know a lot of those were built by Colby. I don't know if he followed any sort of continuous delivery pipeline. I just know that we built what was necessary and then we have an approval process. So I'm sorry we're not giving a great answer for that one, but we're not really sure how to proceed with that.
Colby's saying in the chat that it's still pointed at C PowerShell scanners.
Exactly. So yeah, let's open up the scan profile that we just imported.
All right, so we're going to go here.
Which it should error anyways, but yeah, so.
So we're going to open up that scanner now. So, oh my goodness,
See
it
the
is.
bottom?
Yep, so it didn't, I imported it, but it didn't go to the new location.
So just right at after C:// just add the PS, whatever you named it, PS scanners.
Yes. And I should have just done the letter A. This PowerShell is brought to you by,
I think that'll work.
and then we have to do it for our additional files as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for MBK's question, he clarified in the chat. He says, I meant at the end of a pipeline. Yes.
To publish things. So,
Do you want to take that one while I test this real quick?
sure. I don't have an exact answer, but I can say that there's a PowerShell project, and I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, but called like Stucco, which is like a way to like get the foundations of a PowerShell module, and I believe it includes all the steps for like CI/CD stuff, how to test all of your functions to make sure they have help and all that kind of thing. So it's called Stucco, Stucco. It's on GitHub. It's a project by Dev Blackups. Yeah, could somebody find that real quick and post it? I guess I can.
Oh, looks like Andrew was right. I gave myself false hope by doing it wrong. All right, so we're gonna come in here and modify the script to do it the right way now, after Andrew's lucky guess, and save that. All right, now that that's saved, this should fail. All right, and since we're scanning again, and whereas exit failure will come back pretty quick on this one, but do we have any other questions? This is kind of where it's going to be the most wait time.
Where it's going to hang. Yeah, we can throw one more in. Is there a command to add a computer to PDQ inventory from PDQ deploy? Curtis J.
Yep, absolutely there is. If you come up, just open a elevated command prompt and just do PDQ inventory. I did not spell that right. Inventory. It's going to give you a list of the commands that we have for the CLI built in, and the top one there is add computers. And then I think you have to specify just the computer name itself, and it should add it for you. I haven't done a lot with it, so I'm not sure if you have to add anything else past that, but I guess we can pull that up and see if it has any help. Okay, and so there, yeah, so you just need to add just a computers, and it's just a string entry to add a computer that way with a command line. All right, so now that it's done correctly, the way that I said it goes, we'll say. So now we just want to go in. The scanner works the way it was before, but we want to show that you can still come in here and make the change and add the attribute we added, the -wsus.
Cool. So this is a way that we can pass parameters to our scripts. So we can kind of like have a static script that we can do different things with through this. So that's kind of a cool way to use the PowerShell scanners and add a little bit of flexibility to them.
Yeah, so with this change, it's going to keep the default behavior, but if you are using WSUS and you still want to see your updates that are missing, just add -wsus in the parameters on your scanner, and it should, he said, waiting for it to come back successfully, give the information that you're looking for. I'm pretty confident, though, because it worked the first time when I had it, backwards on the if statement. All right, so we're just going to come into the PowerShell scanner and look up get available updates, and these are the updates that it could install. And then from that, you can make all sorts of collections to look for. If you're looking for a specific KB, or if you just want to make sure there's nothing there, does not have any in that scanner. So there's a lot of collections you can build on that to see how up to date all your machines are.
Awesome, and that's based on the work that Brock did in a cool blog, which I'll link in the chat. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. If there's anything related to PowerShell scanners that we maybe went over, you want to look back to, that blog has some examples of some of the things we're going to be doing.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were diving into like pulling .NET libraries to get it to work in different things, and it turns out it does work with Get Windows. You just need to add the Windows Update parameter, and it takes off.
Yeah.
All right, and so since we are making the change, we probably want to also update the README, just to give information. So, and I'll just do a quick one. Doesn't have to be super accurate, but it does need to let you know what's in there, and when it goes to the review process, if it needs to be updated, it can be done there as well. Just try to be as accurate as possible. Switch edit to work with all networks, we'll say. I don't know if that's a good one, but it's what I've got.
Yeah, you might get some feedback on some different ways to word that, but that's the beauty of it. You don't have to, there is a feedback process, there is a back and forth. It's not like perfect first time or get out. It's
Yep. All right, so now that we got the changes. It's still only done locally, so we want to try to move those up to get the approval. The first thing we have to do is stage it, which is since we're working with multiple files on this one, we updated 2 files. It's nice that we can stage both of those, and so when we go and do the request, it works. And this is where we put the message, and so we're going to put fix for issue.
Yeah, and we'll look at the issue number. Would be nice.
68, I believe. Yeah, there it is. I hit #68 and I pulled it up right there. All right, so get a fix for issue, and then it pulls up the update when you put the # that one. And then we're going to commit this, which is still, it's basically just committing it locally. Still, we haven't gone through and done the sync to try to push it live. And
yeah, it's just on our add wsus copy. That's a branch on yours.
Yeah, and I think we are officially as far as we've gone in our testing. So out here, it's all, we'll see if it works. All right, so the last piece, we're going to come down here. We have changes to push. We're going to hit publish, he said nervously.
So this is just to your branch.
Just okay, so and we want to do
and then
origin.
We'll pull request later. So
Okay.
just origin.
Just to origins, we're going to pull.
Push.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, push. Create pull request.
Perfect. So it saw that we have GitHub in VS Code is useful and helpful. So whenever we originally pulled up VS Code and we showed the PowerShell and GitHub extensions, that's kind of what we use to make this whole Git process just a little bit easier, because we are not software developers who necessarily get a lot out of Git. So let's get the most we can with doing the least.
Yep. And it's coming up where it's now asking for a pull request with the main one, where we have like the repository we built, and we're looking to go to the master of the default collection. It grabbed the title that we used for our own, so I think we'll hit enter on that one, or I guess we got the description. I don't know, I'm just going to copy my title. How's that?
Simple enough.
If you know what, if the people testing this, I'll talk to them in Slack if they don't like it, and then I'll do better in the future. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to hit create. And I think it is now building that request for us. All right, changes in pull request. Oh, we have to actually do a rebase. And no, I don't want to merge it, because that would basically just take my code and put it in there. So if we come in here, you now can see I have a check mark because I think that one was from me. These are the list of the open pull requests that we have, and mine did submit. So tell Dakota to stop lollygagging and improve my crap. All right, and that's just kind of it. So this is way, if you're looking to just use the scanners that are in there, that's fantastic. There's a lot of information. You want to use your Git, you can just pull that in. If you want to contribute, just remember, if you don't want to do the PowerShell, you're not sure, create an issue, and it gives us ideas, because a lot of times there's stuff we're willing to write, we just don't have the ideas ready to go. And if there's something you're lacking or a scanner that you think could use a fix, then create an issue, and that way it goes into a list of things that are waiting. If you love PowerShell and you've built your own, please submit it to us. We want this to be, the repo to be as useful a tool as we can for everybody.
Completely, yeah. There's a lot of room with PowerShell. It can really do anything. So if we can keep coming up with cool solutions and put them in PowerShell scanners, we can all get great value out of it. So,
okay. All right. Do we have any questions that have come in?
We do, as a matter of fact. Hey guys, for better security, how do you sign the scripts? Is there a way? Thanks, Marcel L.
So a lot of when we send out like PowerShell, either a step or a scanner, we sign that within our product with the I'm sorry, we put a signature on that one. But as far as signing your own, I don't know if there's a way that we have that built in. We'll see if Colby can bail me out here.
Yeah, Colby.
No pressure.
Yep. It says description in this repo are not signed, so I was wrong. So just kind of best thing, there is a review process, a peer review process, but make sure you know what you're running before you just import it and run it, I guess, is the best we can do. All right. And also, Colby put a link into the chat where there is a contributing option where we can really walk you through and help you contribute if you want to add to our repo.
Cool.
All right.
Ready
Any
for
other
another one?
questions? Absolutely.
Sure. Can this be used to force the available updates to apply? Thank you sincerely, Craig M.
So if you have Git for Windows, you could build a package that does just a Git pull from that location. It does have to be where your system is, and then on a schedule it will go and do that pull for you automatically. I don't know about anything outside of that to automate it. Any thoughts on that?
So I didn't quite understand the answer. But so I think he's referring to the available Windows updates. You can't use a PowerShell scanner to do that. But if you look at that blog I posted earlier, there is some stuff that Brock did on how to deploy. If you have an update that you want to push, how to get that and how to push that from deploy. But in terms of doing it from a scanner, not quite. Scanners get us the information. We can use that in PDQ inventory to create collections, and then we can deploy packages that run PowerShell to those collections.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was thinking about keeping the repo up to date, not the. Your version makes way more sense.
I was confused too, so no worries.
And another question. Gentlemen, does this script work in an air-gapped, no internet environment?
So, I mean, air-gapped is always, very, very secure, but it's not always easy. So you'd have to pull this down to a machine that you trust, then copy it to a trusted device and move it that way after you've done all your testing to make sure it's clear. So it's not going to be by default. With the air-gap, you're going to need to manually move it over at some point.
Yeah, but it's just PowerShell code, so as long as you can get that code into your product, it doesn't require a connection to the internet per se to do that. Now, that being said, we also installed a module as part of that, the Windows Update module, which you don't need internet. You can do it on an air-gapped network. You just have to have that module on the computers. And there are ways you can do that by like having an internal repository and pointing it to that, but it kind of depends on your situation.
Yeah, on that one, it's the PS Windows Update module. So you would probably have to, instead of just pointing it to it where it uses the script to automatically download, have the module ready to go where it copies that over with the actual script. So it would require some modification.
Yeah, but it's definitely possible.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, one final question, somewhat unrelated, but is there any plan to integrate MDM image devices to work in PDQ? Thanks, John B.
So there are a lot of ideas that we have for the project that we are actually working on. We're putting a lot in, but as far as overall plans, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that where it's still in the production phase. So I can't give a great answer to that one, unfortunately. I do know that we do have some plans for the product that I think people are going to love. It's just I can't really speak about it quite yet.
And that is it for questions.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, hopefully this was some great information. Please, everyone, use the PowerShell scanner. There's a lot of great information in there. If you want to contribute, just remember, create your fork, work off of your own branch that you build. Once you got everything working tested, send it up, and you don't have to worry if there's flaws or we need to change something. There's people that will review the code and they'll help you along the way if there's if changes we need to make.
And before we close, I just want to make one last plug for our K-12 cybersecurity webinar on June 16th. I've placed the registration link in the chat once again. It's going to be something you don't want to miss. All right?
All right. All right. Well, I'd like to thank Andrew for hopping in on short notice and being so willing. His PowerShell knowledge is fantastic. You should definitely get whatever information you can from him while he's on here. For PTQ.com, I'm Jordan.
Thank you for being a part of our webcast today. If you had questions that we were not able to get to today, feel free to reach out to our support forums. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.